Okay, guys, so we now know specifically which direction President Biden is likely to go in when it comes to what features he's going to present to Congress to boost his likelihood of becoming a president for a second term. And we know this because there was a private meeting, which put in other ways, basically a secret meeting. We don't know, exactly when it's happening, that it's happening. We find out after the fact. We also don't know exactly what they talked about during that meeting. And then somewhere down the line, we will find out after the fact. So, howdy, Brandy Collins. Howdy, howdy. So, the bottom line here is that essentially there was a private, AKA secret meeting between Joseph Biden and Bernie Sanders. We learned about this later down the line. The key facts that you need to know about are that they are discussing their plan for Social Security benefits and what will specifically happen going into the future. Now, Bernie Sanders, we know where he's at with his plan for Social Security benefits because he recently released a bill that was essentially financially reviewed by the Social Security Administration. In fact, I think it's the last update on the Social Security Administration's website, being the bill that Bernie Sanders produced to go ahead and try and push forward an agenda with changing Social Security benefits. Now, with that said, that bill had different forms of taxation in it, and essentially, took from here to put over there, etc. But the thing that he and Biden tended to agree on, which is almost certainly the thing that will be pushed into the 2024 election cycle, is the raising of the cap. What is the cap? So there's a cap on how much people pay on Social Security taxes. Your taxes that you pay are 12.4%. These are your FICA taxes. You pay them when you get payroll, and 12.4%, 6.2 you pay, 6.2% your employer pays. Now they want to get rid of the cap, and the cap is set to a mark, and anybody earning above that, right? And this is earned income. This isn't investment income, stuff like that. But any money that they earn above that, they don't get hit with that 12.4%. So what they want to do is they want to raise it. And the idea is they want to go ahead and have a donut hole, or put another way, an area where it doesn't affect you. So everybody will pay, FICA tax up to the 162, and then there will be a spot where people aren't paying it anymore, and then at $400,000, they'll start paying that again. So that only the super wealthy are getting hit with this tax. Now, the bottom line is there was an article released specifically from Fool.com, Motley Fool. You guys know it. I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the basics with you on this, and then I'll give you kind of my knowledge in conjunction with what this article talks about. This article was created by Keith Spites, March 4th, 2023, 11:45 p.m. Of course, today it is March 6th. Yesterday, which is the day we are a little more accustomed to, even though it just flipped over to today, was March 5th. So this is about realistically a day old. President Joe Biden has been abundantly clear that he doesn't want any cuts to Social Security, right? He's been playing with the Republicans with that. He made Rick Scott be the boogeyman, who basically, was so afraid about it that Rick Scott came out with an amendment to his plan to not include Social Security benefits. In his State of the Union, Joe Biden's his address in February, the president stated, "If anyone tries to cut Social Security, I will stop them." The article then goes on to say, but that doesn't mean Biden isn't open to revising the popular federal program in ways that don't reduce payments. It's quite possible that the president could soon push for a huge Social Security change. Okay. So what happened here? Washington Post reported on February 23rd that President Biden met privately with Senator Bernie Sanders. The main topic discussed was Social Security benefits. Now, I didn't even get wind of this until a couple of days after that. Sanders, along with Senator Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats, want to raise the cap on payroll taxes that help fund Social Security from essentially $160,200, not $162, but $160,200. And then basically, Sanders has proposed also taxing all income above $250,000. President Biden, before becoming president, was at $400,000. So they've all got numbers, but that's their game. Their game is more taxes. Okay. Now, with that said, Biden's plan was to subject income above $400,000 to the payroll tax. which means that if somebody is earning any money, right, from like earned income, not, your investment stuff, from that $400,000 and up, they're going to pay a new tax. And it's a massive tax. It's 12.4%, which on millions and millions of dollars of what somebody potentially earned is, all right. So just to give you an idea here real quick, let's do a calculator just to give you a general understanding as to how massive that is. Let's say that somebody earns $5 million times 0.125 equals, so on $5 million, that would come out to $625,000. So bottom line is that no rich person, now I see George Daly says 400 is fine, but consider into that $5 million times, 0.125, 12.5%, that equates to $625,000. Let me do the math again to make sure I'm good to go. So $5 million. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Times 0.125 equals $625,000. Now, do any of you guys think a rich person is going to want to give up $625,000 in a new tax against their $5 million of earned income for that particular year? Obviously not. Now, the whole idea behind this is that if they raise this tax, it could create a financial landscape for essentially Social Security benefits to last for another 75 years. Remember, originally it was to make it last to 2100. That was the original idea. It was the Social Security 2100 Act, right? It would last to 2100. Now they're shooting for the 75-year mark or less, right? So we're just dropping it down a little bit, etc. Okay. All right, so let me read to you what they want. Senator Sanders doesn't just want to increase the payroll tax cap. He has also proposed raising Social Security benefits by $2,400 per year. Even with the added benefits, the plan would fully fund the program for the next 75 years. By comparison, Biden's campaign proposal to increase the payroll tax cap to $400,000 would only delay Social Security's insolvency to 2044. After that point, Social Security recipients would face the prospect of an 11% benefit reduction. There are other potential ways to avoid steep benefit cuts, for example, raising the full retirement age from 67 to 69, then indexing it based on longevity, would, in combination with Biden's plan to increase payroll tax cap to $400,000, fully fund Social Security through 2059. So putting it another way, what they're doing is they're trying to get their math straight as to how far down the line they want to be able to fund this program. And I think the novel thing that some of these other Republicans and Democrats came out with, that they want to create this foreign fund idea, right? Where basically the United States is going to create this special fund, and this special fund with $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion will go ahead and invest into private markets, just like what the private market would do on Wall Street, to try and reap larger gains, right? To go ahead and continue to pay Social Security benefits. It's a novel idea. We don't see that normally at the federal level. I don't think that will be proposed by the heavy hitter executive Democrats, because their traditional methodology is tax, tax, and tax. When they need more of something, they tax it out of the American people. That's how they do it. That's how that party has always done that. So the main focus here is that we now know, because he's starting to have these meetings essentially, about a year and a half before that presidential cycle, flips over. So we know now that he's planning something. And this meeting with Bernie Sanders, Bernie was, of course, during the presidential election for the, Biden versus Trump era. Bernie Sanders, for the majority of that, was one of the most popular candidates consistently. In fact, many of you may recall that during that process of, once things flipped to President Biden becoming the main contender, Bernie Sanders, by and through himself and other individuals, noted to President Biden that, you better make good on those promises that my platform, Bernie Sanders' platform, was going on. So what we have here is a unique situation. And President Biden knows that Bernie Sanders has a significant following, and people, Americans, fear losing their Social Security benefits, and Republicans tend to look bad when it comes to Social Security benefits and their loss by the potential of changing the program. So, what we're looking at now is, would this change be a big promise from the Democrats going into the 2024 presidential election? Or is there another problem, a much bigger problem that we are potentially looking at? I can tell you this: the numbers from COVID that affect Social Security benefits the most, that haven't seemed to wiggle waggle their way into the calculations yet to really show how dire things are, would be the ratio of workers to beneficiaries, the people who are working the jobs and paying taxes to the people who are receiving benefits. I'm going to be doing another video shortly that basically explains what's going to happen in the near future with the math and why there is a bigger problem that no one is talking about when it comes to essentially the post-COVID job loss numbers. Now, some of you guys have been hearing a lot of these really big reports that essentially jobs have been completely regained, everything's amazing, wow, wow, wow. That's not accurate. And the problem that we're going to go through with this next video is essentially when people aren't working, like enough people, like millions of people aren't working when they used to be working in early 2019. That means that significant taxes aren't being paid into the retirement trust fund, the disability trust fund, etc. Which means that our overall numbers are going to have a problem, because remember, your benefits are paid out based off of people currently working. We're going to go through that shortly. We'll be at the next video. The next video, just so you know, if you want to search it, it's called, we're going to be doing it like literally within the next 5 minutes, Post-COVID Job Loss Numbers Affect Social Security Benefits Badly. So post-COVID job loss numbers affect Social Security benefits badly. That's what we're going to be covering next, so that you understand what I was thinking about when I woke up yesterday and the thing that I'm worried about. So I pulled up the numbers on it, and they're not good. So anyways, guys, I will see you at the next video. I will catch you a little bit later, and I'll see you shortly. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.